Yeah, so basically, oh,
Hold on. So how y'all doing? Shawn White, Miss Petronia's on. These are awesome people, members of the SBN. All right, Shawn White, I'll let you go. I know the first question that I got from numerous people is what is a polymath? What is someone that has polymathical mind? So I'll let you take it away because I know that we talked about it and you know the answers.
indeed, indeed. And by the way, too, when I first heard of this, right, it was something that I heard of this a while ago, but really didn't go into full detail as far as figuring out what a polymath was. But after doing my research, and I even used a few resources to even find out what a polymath is, it really opened up my eyes because this is something that's in fact excellent. And so I have my notes right here on my phone. So if I'm looking down and reading, then you understand. I just want to make sure that you get a in-depth comprehensive of what a polymath is. In addition, as well, I'm also going to distinguish the differences between a polymath versus a genius versus an intellectual. So this is what I gathered here. A polymath is someone with deep knowledge, skills, or expertise across a wide range of subjects, often both in the sciences and the arts. Instead of specializing in just one narrow field, a polymath integrates learning from multiple disciplines to create new insights, solve problems, or innovate. Now, historically, just to give you an idea of a polymath, I want you to think about an individual such as Le- Leonardo da Vinci, right? He was obviously an artiste. He was definitely known for the Mona Lisa, if I'm not mistaken. He was also an innovator. He was also a scientist as well. But I also want you to think about Benjamin Franklin. Ah, did you know that? Our first president of the United States. He was considered as a statesman. In addition, check this out, as a statesman, a writer, an inventor, and a scientist. Those are also considered as polymaths. So here are some of the key traits of a polymath. And even going through my research study, I found this to be very interesting. For starters, curiosity. A polymath is someone that has an innate or deep drive to learn broadly across different areas with the versatility, the ability to adapt knowledge from one domain to another along with integration, which basically that means connecting the ideas across fields to make unique contributions. So, in short, ladies and gentlemen, a polymath isn't just knowledgeable in just many things, right? I mean, you can be knowledgeable in many different things, right? Hundreds of things. But what separates a polymath is that they synchronize these different areas into something a whole lot greater. So I want you to think about really connecting the dots in terms of your business or in terms of what you're passionate about and how you can pretty much integrate or intertwine all those different areas or aspects from your business or things that you're passionate about and really connecting the dots to go ahead and make it work. So with that, I even went a little bit more. This is very interesting as well. I want to go ahead and explain to you the difference of a polymath versus someone that is a generalist. This is what they have in terms of a generalist. A generalist is someone that has broad knowledge in many areas, but not always at a more deeper level. So basically, mean I guess they have knowledge in these areas, but they don't really take it to another level. It's just something that they have. They focus on adaptability and versatility. They're also good, a generalist, at seeing the big picture and handling a wide range of tasks. Just to give you an example here, a manager who understands finance, marketing, and HR well enough to oversee a team, but isn't a deep expert in any one of those. Versus now, a polymath has both breadth and depth mastery in multiple fields. It goes beyond dabbling, actually contributes or innovate in these different domains. They integrate knowledge from various areas to create unique solutions or art, which I found interesting, such as with Leonardo da Vinci painting anatomy, engineering, architecture, inventions. Again, guys, it's all about connecting the dots. So, in short, with those comparisons between a generalist and a polymath, a generalist knows a little bit about a lot, which is most people, but a polymath knows a lot about a lot and connects those areas creatively. I want to say that again. A polymath knows a lot about a lot and also connects those areas creatively. That is definitely huge. Definitely huge. Now you're probably wondering, okay, well, that's great, Shawn, and I mean that's beautiful, but who would be considered some modern day polymaths? Because this is all new terminology to me. So I understand Leonardo da Vinci, but are there many others? Check this out. Someone that you're familiar with, Elon Musk. We all know Elon Musk, right? What makes him a polymath is that he has an expert inside knowledge of fields such as engineering, business, space exploration, automotive, energy. You may know him famously as far as for with Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and many other type of projects in which that he currently has. How about this one? This one is you can either agree or disagree, but did you know Maya Angelou? Hmm. Think about it. Not only
Okay.
was she a poet and an artiste, but also she specialized in literature, performing arts, active activism, and also teaching. But in addition, she was a poet, like I mentioned, a singer, a dancer, an actress, filmmaker, professor, and civil rights activist. They have an, what about this? Now, this gentleman here, if it wasn't for him, then obviously we wouldn't be able to use the technology that we're using right now. Steve Jobs, the visionary, his fields would be considered as technology, design, business, marketing, obviously famous for blending artistry, design thinking, and engineering into Apple's innovation. So think about with somebody like Steve Jobs, just like I mentioned, without him, none of this would be possible. The ability to use our cell phones the way that we use them, and also with the tablets and iPads and iPhones, and you pretty much get the rest. But what about this? Another gentleman that would be considered as a polymath. Our very own Commissioner, Dr. James McConnell. He is someone that not only does he does TV and radio, but he also does artificial intelligence, Elevate X. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And NBC's list, et cetera, et cetera. The beautiful part about with Commissioner is that unlike many others that may have a bunch of businesses, he is able to intertwine those. And again, as I mentioned, connecting the dots to make it all work together. A lot of people cannot do that. They can say that they have multitude of businesses, but how to connect the dots and make it go more so on a much more deeper level, that's what separates him and puts him in that company of being a polymath. Does that make sense, everyone?
It does, and so I wanted to make context to what you're saying, guys. I want y'all to know the reason why Sean A is giving you all this info, because for the longest, last 7 years plus, I heard that word myself. I had a colleague of mine that called me a polymath, and I asked him what did that word mean. He did explain a lot of it, but then he said, "Go Google it, go research it, and you'll see that's you, my friend." So I started doing it, and I'm like, "Oh, he's spot on." And so it allowed me to know what I'm doing was right, because back then I thought I was maybe a little off for what I should do, because everybody and their mama would tell me I need to focus on one thing, focus on a niche, do a couple of things at most. That's when blah blah blah. And again, I want to be clear. There's a lot of people that can do one thing and be rich. So there's a lot of one thing people, two thing people that got a lot of money, right? Being smart or being a genius or being a polymath doesn't really consequently talk about riches, but it does allow you to make a good living. I don't know too many geniuses that are not making a good living, but being rich has to do with more than just that. It has to do with consequences, has to do with like opportunity, stuff like that. But but what ended up happening is during our Elevate X course, um, I remember Miss Cassandra asked me like a couple of questions, and then I was like, "Well, I'm a polymath." And then, if she wouldn't have asked me any further, I wouldn't have went into it. But when she asked me, "What is that?" I went in and explained. So then Shawn White asked me a day later, "Can I elaborate on that?" And I did. And I did him the same way that my colleague did me. I said, "Yeah, I told him, but I asked him to go ahead and research." And that's why he came up with all this good information to let you guys know. Because the people that are watching this now, I want you to know that we can do the same for you as far as helping you. So anyway, let's move on. Shawn, why do you have anything else that you need to say before Miss P gets started?
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, I want to go ahead and make some distinct points, as I mentioned earlier in this call. The difference or the subtle differences between a polymath versus a genius or an intellectual. And I want to preface before I even get into that very quickly that it's nothing wrong as far as if you're a genius or you're an intellectual or being smart. What we're basically saying is, in order to be a polymath, it takes more intense learning. And what happens is that with a polymath, they have a type of learning that's insatiable, you're that they're hungry, thus as being a lifelong student. Those that's in personal development, they know exactly on what I'm talking about. That's something that has been preached for the longest time. But for the sake of time here, I just want to go ahead and go over a couple of instances with a polymath. So, as I mentioned to you before, a polymath is a person with a broad and comprehensive knowledge across various subjects. Their main focus for a polymath will be mastery or significant expertise in multiple fields or integrating insights from different domains. As I mentioned, like Leonardo da Vinci, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, the great Dr. James McConnell. These individuals, they have a insatiable desire to keep on learning, never be stagnant, always moving, always creating, always innovating. Intellectual, very interesting. With an intellectual, their definition, what I found is someone whose primary skills revolve around thinking and the use of their mind. The main focus it has on theoretical problem solving, exploring ideas, and engaging with concepts. And some of the examples of individuals who are deeply involved in abstract thought, so, I'm sorry, physiolo philosophy, excuse me, I can't talk now, sorry, philosophy and critical analysis. That sounds like me where I'm at right now as an intellectual. I find that very intriguing, Kamish. A genius would be a definition of someone, a person with exceptional high intelligence and extraordinary mental capacity. They can focus on high level cognitive abilities that often lead to remarkable achievements or innovative ideas. And the measurement is that while there's no perfect scientific measure, a high score on an IQ test is often considered as an indicator. So someone that all of us would pretty much know is like Einstein, right? He can actually be a crossover between a genius or a polymath. I guess it pretty much depends on who you ask, but that's just probably like the first person that comes to mind when it comes to a genius. So there you go. You guys got differences.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's what I wanted people to understand that there's no better than the other, meaning a polymath, which is I am, and others, or just a genius or an intellectual. There's no one that's better unless you want to do something that's different. So a polymath and a genius are all in one. A polymath is a genius is a genius. But the difference is, like Shawn White say, the polymath, um, they intertwine more than one or two things. They intertwine immense mastery that they've done through the years. I just have to say this, during my journey, I didn't know I was doing that. I was just hungry to learn more, to apply it to what I'm doing for monetary gain or to build legacies or empire, kind of whatever. I didn't think about that until 7 years ago. And when he told me, that's when I started thinking, okay, I need to keep going. See, I didn't have to do more because I was already doing almost as much as you can. And then from that aspect, I started with the mental exercises that helps me sharpen that tool up. So, so I appreciate you saying that, Shawn A. And we finna move on into Miss P. I know Miss P got some stuff that she want to say. So, Miss P, take it away.
I'm just going to start out with when I first met Commissioner Dr. James, um, as he said last night or night before last, he's going to watch how he says stuff. But I didn't exactly know how to, I want to say, take him because he was at first sight all over the place. He wanted to do this, then he wanted to do this. But then now that I'm listening to the definition of a polymath, I can see how his mind was working. I remember having a conversation with him saying, your mind is always thinking, always doing something, and it's got to be like Einstein's mind was. I told him that shortly after I met him,
Yeah,
not even
yeah,
realizing what I was saying. But then I think about, the 40 plus now businesses that you have. And I think about some of those businesses that I am aware of that you have. And I visualize how Sade was saying that they mesh, how they intertwine with one another, and your businesses do just that. They complement one another, and
right,
that your knowledge isn't just like a genius. Like my brother, he tested out genius in middle school, but his knowledge is not, I want to say, it's not just learned knowledge, but it was easy for him to grasp on the stuff very quickly. My son was the same way, stayed in trouble, but and
right,
in school, but that's because his mind was always going, and the school system was not going fast enough for him as
right,
such. But that's on the genius level. But with the polymath math, it sounds like that knowledge is also applied. Like a genius might be in school and know that knowledge for a moment to pass a test or to be creative or create a thing. But the polymath mind has knowledge in various areas, and they all come together and they work together, and they work together well. So that was my experience with you, Dr. James. And I wanted to say I was listening to you, and I think back on my own self, just like Shawnee did, was saying. I think back on my own life, and I just mentioned my son. I mentioned that I think that some of this might even be, can or possibly be inherited. I don't know. But I graduated high school a year and a half early, probably for the same reason my son did with the
right,
mind thing. I graduated high school a year and a half early, and I was bored. I thought I was going to be all that and I was going to hang out. But then I realized all my high school buddies were still in school. So I had to do something. And I took a job and I went to college early. I went to college early and until I went to Tennessee State later that fall. But I graduated high school in 1977, a year and a half early. and I was taking somebody's class about something up until the year 2000. From 1977 to 2000, I was physically in somebody's class. And from 2000 to present, I'm still learning. I'm still getting involved in different things, different businesses. I mentioned doing our own personal conversations and stuff. I'm retired. I was forced into retirement at the age of 56 for medical reasons, because of my job, one of the jobs that I had and such. But my husband also retired several months after I did. And he wants me to be retired, whatever that means. And he sometimes gets aggravated with me. I was out at an event yesterday, and I was talking to vendors and stuff that were there and interviewing them and telling them about Small Business Network and telling them about TV, radio, and podcasting. And I didn't even know my husband, who he didn't come with me, but he brought the tent cover. He was standing beside me, and I didn't even know it. And as I finished this one interview, I was on my way to the next, and he called my name. He said, "Hey, businesswoman." That's what he called me. Hey,
Right.
businesswoman. And then, but he's constantly saying I'm supposed to be retired, and I'm trying to fight back tears right now because it's like a revelation
Right.
when you get this information. Because, like you said, you wonder if something's wrong with you. Why can't I retire? I cannot be still. I cannot. My mind. I've told you guys. I wake up at 2:30. I go to sleep. I wake back up. I get back up. I wake back up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm back up. I'm up all day. I'm constant. I cannot. Even though I want to. I want to relax. I want to chill. I would love to retire. I'm 10 years down the road now from when I had to retire and
Right.
such. But I love what I do. Like you say, I do get tired. And when I get tired, Petronia lays down. Trust this.
Right.
It's stuff, and y'all know this. I won't answer the phone. I won't do none of that.
Right.
But my brain does not. My brain is just constantly going, but it's such a relief to know that there's nothing wrong with me, but there's something specific that I am developing. I'm not saying I'm a polymath. And I know I'm not on your level, Dr. James. So one of my final questions is this something that can be, are there different levels and can it be developed? Those are my
Yeah.
questions.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So it can be, and like I was telling Shawn that I actually have a mission statement um, also, but you can develop. Now, no one can promise that you're going to be able to be like me or turn into Einstein or Elon Musk, but one thing is guaranteed, you will definitely become smarter, be able to think faster, and be able to come up with problems that you didn't think of. Because what the goal is here, this is really one of the, if I had to say one thing that really sums it up, I'm able to see patterns most people miss. That's really the bottom line. I'm able to see patterns most people miss. So, yes, you can develop this. And having said that, I'm glad you said that because this is one of the driving forces of this because I may have never talked about this because of the fact that I didn't want to seem, high and mighty or something like that because I'm smart, right? And so I always kept it inside and I just used it for my own good. But God brought it out because of Cassandra talking, and then I said what it was. Then she inquired what it was, and then Shawn kept asking me, and then now it turned into this. So now I'm going to share this knowledge, and I'm going to help people enhance their mind because it doesn't matter where you get to. Enhancing your mind is really a lifelong thing, really. But like I said yesterday, your mind is counting on you because your mind does not stay stagnant. Your mind either improves or it depreciates. It either gets better or it gets worse. I'm serious. Now, can you feed into it and there's negative things going on and it stays in the middle? Yeah. But if that's happening, then that means there's something going on to counteract you feeding in information and knowledge and trying to learn. But your mind only has two things that it can do. That's improve or decline. So if I think the alternative of decline is something that most people don't want, because did you know that you can actually fight off dementia and Alzheimer's with continued learning, continued education? Maybe not 100% of the time, but I bet you at least 90, you probably can. But more than that, your mind won't decline. It will only improve. So having said that, I'm going to be devising a course for anyone that wants to, for one, it's for everybody, but we have a lot of people that love to self-improve, which should be most people. Self-care, which should be most people. But whether you're a business or a profession or an individual, whatever you want to call yourself, you should always want to improve your mind, because every single thing you ever want to do starts with the inner mind, starts with your brain. So I'm very excited about bringing this out because I've had it inside for so long, and now I can let it out and I can share. And so you guys already know, because I've heard you guys talk like this kind of for a minute and some other people, but you never knew. Like you just said, you just told them that now I see why your mind worked like that, because you probably wonder why is his mind all over the place. But now you know why. You say, okay, now this is organized into why. Because I say something else too. Sometimes intense study or knowledge can drain most people, but it energizes me. I'm giving you facts. Most of the time, too much reading, too much this can totally drain people. But me personally, it energizes me. And so, before I say anything else, Ms. P, do you have anything else that you like to say?
uh, Keep on keeping on, and I'm glad to have a better understanding of who you are, and I'm more appreciative of who you are, and can't wait to learn more from you.
Are you smiling because you saw me doing something right then? And my daughter, she couldn't wait for a minute. She brought me a little taste of her um, cobbler with some ice cream on it. She know that I don't eat much sweets, but she know I was gonna get on it if she wouldn't let me taste it. Shawn, hey, how about you? You got anything else you like to say, sir? You know, Shawn be multitasking into the background. Shawn, you
Uh,
here?
Definitely. Yeah, I sure do. I mean, you know what, Miss P, I love as far as on what you said, because for the longest time, I always had a fascination as far as with the human mind, right? Why is it that people react or think a certain way, certain patterns, right? What makes a person tick in this particular situation? And obviously combine that as far as with me being a hypnotherapist practitioner and a coach, I just find this to be now in the form of next level thinking. And Kamish, you heard me, we talked about that several times. So I'm just really very excited as far as the next level of this and really seeing it play out. And I do know that it is a progression, so it's going to take time, obviously, like anything else, but it's just so much more worth it, because even learning information and really seeing the transformation happen, the growth within, just how much more attractive that would be for others as well. And then to be able to teach it, right, is something that's going to be amazing, combined with everything else in which that we're doing. So I just look at this as a springboard, that if a person is really wondering, well, how can I really contribute to my community, to society, to my organization, if you're in network marketing, etc., this is one of the ways, if not the best way, probably, in my humble opinion. But I'm being biased right now.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And can you see me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. So I'm going to say three things, guys, before we close this down, because if you're watching this video, that means you're either an existing partner or you're a new customer that may be a part of us real soon. And so I'm going to give you three different things. I'm going to give you a superhuman brand statement. I'm gonna tell you why I call it that first, because polymath is the epitome. That's the last step of what that word means. There's no other field for that. But what I've decided to do, and of course, you know why, because my mind keeps going, is I'm going to build another tier, if you will, of genius. I'm going to call it superhuman cognitect. That's short for cognition architect. Again, I'm going to call it superhuman cognitect. It's going to be it's a brand new cognition that has not been created, and I'm creating it right now. I'm learning stuff as we speak. As a matter of fact, all day today, while I was watching football and taking breaks, I've been reading about thinking in systems. Thinking in systems, and it might sound foreign right now. I'll explain later as we keep going, but uh, uh, there's things I got to read first to get ahead of what I'm talking about and then to implement certain things. And once I do, I'll be able to create this different cognition that will maybe have a real chance of making the intelligence of what I have and what I can help to be maybe the most smartest polymath on the planet if I'm able to pull this off and then allow other people to bring their intelligence up, because no matter where you are, fight the urge to say, I already know this, or I already done that, or I've heard of that before. Well, I know enough. Fight those urges, because no matter who you're talking to, if you talk about the people that's already a billionaire, the richest man on the planet is Elon Musk at $190 billion. You'll never hear him say he know enough. Well, I already know that. He never talks like that. So keep that in mind. So let me tell you this. First is my superhuman brand statement. Uh, me being a modern day polymath, an architect of systems whose mind operates beyond the limits of specialization, branded by peers, which is you guys and more, because you'll get a chance to hear from Miss Cassandra and others, branded as the modern day Einstein. You guys say I wield a polymathic superpower, the ability to transform complexity into clarity. The superhuman edge blends with Einstein multi-dimensional genius with a Musk level drive for innovation, disruption, and execution. Um, I weave civic, business, and cultural and artificial intelligence frameworks and adaptive, legacy driven solutions, empowering communities, scaling organizations, and engineering general impact and generational impact. Now, imagine if you're already an existing part of the SBN, then what I would say is you've already seen how my systems work. Now I'm offering something deeper, access to the mental architecture behind it. I won't promise you'll become a polymath like me, but I will guarantee your brain will operate at a higher level. You'll think faster, connect deeper, execute smarter. This is your invitation to train with a modern day Einstein and unlock your own version of polymathic power. Yeah, polymathic power. See, this tone is confidence, invitational, legacy driven, so on and so forth. I am emphasizing growth through exposure, right? Rise because you're so close to these systems because you're a part of what we got going on right now. Now, if you're a new person, somebody that that we're trying to bring in, whether it's me or one of the other partners, Shawn White, Miss Petronia, or anybody else, then I would start off by saying to a new customer, you don't know me yet. Uh, and I'm not just offering you help, but I'm offering you access to a rare mind that can elevate yours, period. I've been called a modern day Einstein with a Musk level execution engine. My mind operates across disciplines: civic, business, digital, cultural, technology, AI. I won't promise you that you'll become a polymath overnight, but I will guarantee this. If you engage with my frameworks, your brain will get sharper, faster, and more strategic. You'll begin to think like a systems architect. That's the power of training with someone with a superhuman mind. Again, that tone, magnetic, bold, aspirational, emphasize access to rare thinking. That's what you're getting. You're getting access to rare thinking. You're just not buying a product by becoming a part of us or learning this. You're entering a mental gym, a mental gym. Imagine superhuman cognition, polymathic training, mental elevation, strategic transformation. I mean, these are the things that you get for being a part of the SBN and being a part of this taught course, which I'll give you the name of it as we get to that point. But you can become who you want to become. You can become the best version of yourself, more capable than you were before. That's the power of polymathic training. So as I keep working on the superhuman, uh, cognitech systems architect, I'm going to keep working on that. But I don't have to have that complete to start helping you with this version of it. So after that, guys, I'm done talking. You, Shawn White, Miss P, I'll let you close it down.
I'm just going to say good night and good session. Great session.
Great session. Y'all have a great night.
Likewise. Good night, everybody.